Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Katarina. I film videos about project planning and vegan and cruelty-free beauty. Today's video is going to be my 8th update for my Painted Palette 2020. So I am panning the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance eyeshadow palette. I feel the past few months with this palette have not been the best what comes to my general feeling about panning this. I'm sorry if the lighting keeps changing. It's that kind of weather that it's sunny, then it's cloudy, then it's sunny again. But yeah, I have been forcing myself to pan some shades from this palette that I necessarily didn't like, and I just wasn't enjoying to pan this for a while. But I think I have now gotten excited about panning this again. I have realized that it's not possible for me to finish this palette this year, but I want to make as good progress as possible, and then in the end of the year I will decide if I'm going to keep the palette and keep continuing to pan it, if I perhaps want to depot the remaining shades, or if I'm just going to declutter the palette completely. We'll see. But for now I want to make progress and I want to enjoy this palette. I think the shades that I do have left are perfect for fall. I know I have been complaining about this palette recently, and I just wanted to say that right now I do feel better again. And it's not that I don't like panning, it's just that I do have a little bit too much going on, and I have been forcing myself to pan things that I don't enjoy. Now I feel better. I'm not going to force myself to use something if I don't feel like it, and also I don't want to start any new eyeshadow panning projects this year just because I don't want to overwhelm myself, and I'm going to take a step back from my other projects too than this palette. So because of that there's not going to be a panning solitaire update this month. I will film an update in the end of September. I have not hit any new pans or finished any shadows in that project during the past month, so I thought I will skip that project just to give myself a little bit room to make progress on this palette. And also my pan those eyeshadows with my future Painted palettes. I'm still doing that, but I'm only going to update you if I have hit pan, and right now I have not hit any new pans. But anyways, let's get into my progress with this palette during the past month. Let me show you where I was in the last update. And this is where I am right now with the palette. So as you can see, Love Letter is gone from this palette. Let's actually start with that one. So if you have seen a couple of my past updates with this palette, you know that my Love Letter crashed and I tried to repress it, but it didn't repress well at all. The eyeshadow was completely ruined after repressing. I tried to use the repressed eyeshadow in July and I absolutely hated it. It was just really hard, like it was one big hard pan, the eyeshadow that was left, and also it was really patchy when I tried to apply it. Then after the last update I decided to crash the eyeshadow and try to finish it that way. And after filming my Get Ready With Me, where I was talking about panning and what issues I have with panning, I decided to just toss the left that I had from Love Letter. I had it in a separate pan. I will show you a picture. So I had it in this pan, and as you can see this is a really small pan. I didn't have much left, but the eyeshadow just wasn't the same anymore, and I decided that I don't want to force myself to use something that is just not working. And I will say that I did use Love Letter 4 times after filming the last update, and even when I had crushed it, it was really patchy. So after introducing alcohol to it and after trying to repress it, it just was not the same eyeshadow. So yeah, I did declutter the rest of it and I'm happy with that. I'm considering the eyeshadow done. Other than that, I do have nice progress with Antique Bronze. Antique Bronze I have used 7 times during the past month, and today I am wearing it like all over my lid. I do have this quite simple 2 eyeshadow look where I do have Antique Bronze all over my lid, and then I have blended it with a lighter matte eyeshadow, and I'm really loving this look. I have been wearing this quite a few times during the past month. Also, I have been wearing antique bronze in the outer part of my lid blended into crease. Even though it's a shimmery eyeshadow, it's not that shimmery that it wouldn't work in the crease. I have also some progress on Venetian Red, however I only used it twice, but it crumbled a little bit, and I have decided that if an eyeshadow crumbles accidentally, I'm not trying to save the eyeshadow just for the sake of saving it. I do have so much eyeshadow in my collection that it doesn't make any sense for me. If a little bite of the eyeshadow crushes, then I'm just going to toss that if I cannot use it in one look. So that's what happened with Venetian Red, and I was able to hit side pan. But yeah, I only wore it twice, even though it looks like I maybe used it a little bit more than that. And then Real Gar I used 5 times. Real Gar is now an eyeshadow that even though I keep using it, it doesn't really show progress, but it makes me feel good to know that I have actually been wearing it, because it was one eyeshadow that I wanted to focus on during the past month. But Real Gar for sure is one of those eyeshadows that will not be gone by the end of the year. Then eyeshadows that I have not used once during the past month are these 3 eyeshadows, but I will start focusing on them now. And also Red Ochre I have not used since May, I believe. But yeah, this is where my palette is right now, and 2/3 of the year is now gone. So I wanted to, let you know what are my goals for the rest of this year, what I think is realistic. Because when I started panning this in the very end of last year, I already had made quite good progress on the palette. My goal was to finish a lot of the shades, but not maybe all of the shades, and I wanted to hit pan on all of the shades. And I have already hit pan on all of the shades, and at some point I decided that my goal will be to finish the palette completely. And I think that is when I made this Pan That palette miserable for myself, because then I started to force myself to work on eyeshadows that I didn't even enjoy. Buon Fresco and Love Letter were the eyeshadows that I disliked the most in this palette. Well, Buon Fresco was relatively easy, even though it wasn't my favorite eyeshadow. It was lighter eyeshadow, so I think it was easier to use. Love Letter, the color wasn't my favorite, and after the repressing fiasco, it was just completely ruined. Well, thankfully those 2 eyeshadows are now gone, so the rest of the palette feels like really enjoyable, because I don't need to work on those 2 shades. But yeah, I think when I decided that I will try to finish the palette during this year, that is when I kinda ruined the project for myself. So I need to take a step back. I do realize that it is not possible for me to finish this palette. However, I do want to make some good progress still, and I do have some goals for this palette. So my biggest goal for the rest of this year is to finish Golden Ochre, Raw Sienna and Burnt Orange. All of these shades are kind of like transition / crease shades, so I know they will be relatively easy shades for me to finish. But I also do want to make good progress with the other shades. I might even be able to finish Antique Bronze, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I know Antique Bronze is the type of eyeshadow that I could finish also like in the beginning of next year, even though then I will be having completely different projects and I don't necessarily want to... I don't know if I want to keep panning this 10, but if it's just really little bit left of Antique Bronze, I can see myself being able to finish it like during January or February. Shades that I know I won't be able to finish are Red Ochre, Venetian Red and Real Gar. I still want to make good progress with all of these shades, but at this point I feel that after this year I would maybe depot this palette and save these eyeshadows. Especially Venetian Red is something that I don't have anything similar to this anywhere in my collection, so I would like to save it and not necessarily even finish it up. So we'll see. These 3 are something that I can finish for sure, and I would like to challenge myself to finish Antique Bronze, but if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. Anyways, I do have some goals for the next update. I think I'm still pretty far from finishing any of these shades, so I have set myself usage goals for each of the shades for the next month. So I have selected 3 focus shades for myself for the next month, and those shades my goal is to use 5 times each, and those shades are Golden Ochre. This one will go with one eyeshadow that I have in my project 10 Uses Roulette. Then Burnt Orange and Real Gar. I think those shades will work perfectly together. And then the rest of the shades, so Antique Bronze, Rosina, Red Ochre and Venetian Red. All of those my goal is to use 3 times during the next month. So next month I really want to make sure that I get use out of every single one of the shades that I have left in this project. But I don't want to set crazy goals. Like, I don't want to set myself a goal that I want to use one eyeshadow for 10 times, because then I might start getting sick of the color. But if I just happen to use one naturally for 10 times, that is okay, but these are the goals that I have for now. So yeah, I think it will be fun. I'm really glad we are getting into fall, because in the end of the day I do think that Modern Renaissance is a perfect fall palette, especially the shades that I do have left. Now that all of the more cool toned shades are gone, well, except Antique Bronze is a little bit cooler compared to the rest of the shades, but now that like the super cool tones of this palette are gone, I do think this is the perfect fall palette, and I cannot wait to see my progress in the next update. And yeah, I feel really good about this palette. For the past couple of months I just have not had that good feeling, but now I do have it again. This makes me think if I should do like a seasonal Panda palette next year, just because unless the palette is like truly neutral, where it doesn't lean too cool but it doesn't lean too warm, like this is like a really warm neutral palette with pop of color, there will be times in a year when I just don't feel like working on it, because I'm one of those people who like to wear makeup seasonally. So yeah, a seasonal Panda palette is something I have been thinking for next year, but thankfully it's not the time to decide yet. Anyways, that was everything for this update. As I said, I will skip my Panning Solitaire update for this month, so an update to that will be in a month. And my Pantone eyeshadows, I try to hit at least 1 pan during September, so then I will right away film an update to that, but I try not to take too much stress about that project. But yeah, that was everything for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in my next one. Bye bye!